Hi, everyone. It's Kate Byers, founder of the Good Life Institute, creator of the Corporate Women Unleashed program. Today, we are talking about how to survive at the top without facing burnout. And if any of you are senior leaders, senior women, women who have some pretty audacious jobs, surgeons, doctors, lawyers, executives, you get it, right? Burnout can happen very often. Okay. And you guys know that that's really our bailiwick and what we love to talk about, because when top women who are in senior leadership positions, you are in a position of influence and we don't want you burning out. First of all, because our decision-making capacity when we're in burnout is diminished, and we are going to be in protection mode, and we're going to be making decisions from a place of protection versus a place of opportunity. But also the likelihood of you stepping back, stepping down, stepping away from opportunities that could really move the needle in terms of what our society experiences, in terms of how we solve problems in this world, is diminished. And we don't want to live in a world that's diminished. We want to help you move farther, faster, brighter, and be that shining star that you are. Okay, so is it possible? So first of all, the very first step is yes, but you have to believe it. Okay. And I know that sounds so woo-woo, but I don't mean it to be that way. But what happens so often is that we have been given a code, ladies, from a very, very, very young age that says, oh, you want to play on the field with the boys? Well, suit up, but we don't got gear for you. So you're going to have to figure it out. And like everything had to be harder, right? We had to wear the boys' equipment. Right? If we were going to be in the conference room, we had to wear, well, back in my day, we had to wear pantyhose, or, you had to wear pants, right? So we were told how to dress, for God's sake, right? We were told how to behave, right? Don't be too nice, but don't be too aggressive, but be assertive, be confident, don't be overconfident. Like, everything that has gotten you to this point, for most of you who are listening to this broadcast, you're probably, I don't know, you could be 18, but most of the people who listen to these broadcasts are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, even 30s. You've done some hard stuff to get where you're at. And so what happens is that creates an expectation that success is going to have to be hard, because it has been hard. Culturally, it's like we've had 5 extra hoops to jump through for every one that our male counterparts are. Now, this is not an episode or broadcast to talk about male bashing, because I'm not into that, and that's not going to help solve any problems. It is just culturally where we've been. Men go to work, women stay home and have children. That's where we've been culturally for a fairly long time. And we've been coming out of that for about 30, 40 years, but we're still there, right? You still see that a lot in our culture. It's still like my husband stays home full time with our boys because we homeschool, and he does a lot of that homeschooling. He takes care of the house. He does all these things. And he still gets like, well, what does your husband do? And it's like rare, or it's like shocking to people when they're like, oh, you don't have a job. So my point being is, even though it is more normalized to have a woman as the head of the breadwinner of the house, and a guy who's, the house husband or whatever you want to call it, that's not common, right? It's still like, oh, that's surprising. How do you guys make that work? And that type of thing. All right. So everything that we've been given has said this has to be hard. And you're carrying that around with you. You're carrying it in your DNA. You're carrying it in the steps you took to get where you're at, that it has to be hard. So if you believe that it has to be hard, it's going to continue to be, because you won't look for solutions to make it easy. Okay. And I believe that. That's what got me to step away from my career and walk away from something I've worked really, really hard for, walk away from amazing opportunity, amazing lifestyle, amazing paycheck, money, because I was just like, well, it just has to be hard. That's the only way. It has to be hard. It has to be full of suffering and sacrifice. And so I'm just going to walk away and do something that is not as hard. And I'll walk away from the money. I don't care. And that's what burnout feels like. Of course, well, not everybody cares, but I did. I didn't want to walk away from the money, but it wasn't just that. It's like, I don't want to walk away from my potential. I don't want to walk away from the impact I can have. I don't want to walk away from being someone who is a decision maker, who is a leader, who is able to solve problems on a very high level. Like, that's interesting to me. That's who I want to be. Yes, there's money attached to that, right? There's a value exchange there. But yeah, so that's what happens, right? So if you believe it has to be hard, then your only option is to continue to work the hard way and sacrifice your health, sacrifice your joy, sacrifice your family in the process, and hope to hell there's something left of you by the time you get to retirement, that people still like you and you actually have, like, some shred of health left. And that's certainly not what I want for you. And I don't think that's what you want for yourself. The other option is, well, then I just need to walk away and, do what I did. Like, let me just, sit at home and bake cookies all day or whatever it is. I went and worked on an island as a dive instructor. That was cool. I mean, it really was, but, that wasn't something that was sustainable for me long-term. And there's people who are dive masters for life. That's awesome. Please do that. If that's what you want to do it. It's super fun. It's very physical work, but it's super, super fun. But it just wasn't what I wanted to do with my life, right? I was trying to escape this trap of, how the heck do I square the circle? Like, I felt like, as a senior woman in her career, or someone who's at a senior level in your career, I should be able to go into a meeting, drop the mic, and go home and not be festering all day long about, what I said in the meeting. But that wasn't what's happened. And it wasn't because I wasn't intelligent, or I didn't know what I was doing, or, I lacked confidence. I've always been confident. Nobody's ever said Kate's not confident. But everything had to be hard. And so I made it hard, right? Like, those were the patterns that were within me. Those were the beliefs that were within me. I remember one time my boss said, hey, I need you to write a white paper on something. And I was just like, what? White paper? Are you kidding me? Like, I don't want to do that. Like, that, I don't have time for that. And make sure the P&L and ends up where it's supposed to be, and launch this whole new product line. But instead of saying no, I was like, yeah, I'll be happy to do that, right? Because my belief was, if you're going to be valuable to this company and to your boss, you do what it takes. You do the hard stuff. You take that extra challenge. That was my belief. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, yep, white paper. All right, let's write a white paper. Let's figure this out now. And so that's what I'm talking about. That's that patterning, right? There's this belief that it has to be hard. And so when someone asks you to do something else and they add more hard to your plate, or more work, or more challenge, we're like, yeah, okay, I'll do that, because it's sort of like a badge of honor, right? Like, I'm the badass. They're asking to do the hard stuff. And so obviously this leads to burnout, because we cannot continue to run a marathon for years without stopping for a Gatorade. But more than that, because I bet you do stop for Gatorades. Like, I bet that you take vacations. I bet that you take time off. I bet that, like, a lot of you have probably had a sabbatical for a month or two or whatever, right? But it's not about, like, okay, let me refresh myself on the beaches of Hawaii for 2 weeks. And now I'm back at it again. It's like that. It's like those punching bag dummies or whatever, like that little Bozo the Clown. Like, you kind of go down for a couple of weeks, and I was like, okay, I'm back here. Let's do it again. And you do get a breather, and you do, get a little bit of the wind back in your sails. But that's not really talking about a high quality life. Because when we talk about success without sacrifice, what I'm talking about is a life where you have worked this hard to get here. You are going to have challenges. You are going to have difficult decisions. You are going to have people who need you and create complications and all the gray matter that we have to deal with as senior women. But you deal with it in such a way that it doesn't rob you of a private life. It doesn't rob you of health. It doesn't rob you of vibrancy and fulfillment and peace, just peace of mind. Like, that's what I was looking for. I'm like, I'm fine with working a lot of hours every now and then. Like, I don't even care about the hours. I just want peace of mind. If I could just shut my brain off. I just wanted the scrap of hours when I was home to be peaceful and to have energy and to be full of things that would fulfill me, whether that was family or a workout or the presence of mind to plan, like, a dinner reservation. But I just couldn't do anything. Like I just came home every single night, collapsed in bed, got up at the crack of dawn to get a jump on my next day, came home that night, collapsed in bed, got a crack, up at the crack of dawn to get a jump on the next day. And every now and then I fit in a workout and, petted the dog or whatever. Like that's not high quality living. So what I'm talking about is it possible to be someone who's highly successful and can really enjoy it, right? To really say, I have a high quality life, not just I have a high quality career or, I'm hyper successful. Woo, that's, you guys know, if you're hyper successful and you check that box, you're like, okay, this wasn't quite as fun as I thought it was going to be. So how can we make it fun? And why don't we have it? So step one is you have to believe that it's possible. Okay. So if the stories that you're telling yourself is people who don't work hard or people don't suffer or people that don't show up to take the extra and do the tough stuff, they're less valued. They're morons, they're lightweights. They can't take the heat, so they should get out of the kitchen, all that crazy stuff. If that story is going on for you, then this is the way it's going to be. Okay. So the first thing we have to do is you have to change that story. So what I did was I went from that story to, 180 the other way, which is like, oh, Hakuna Matata. I'm just going to hang out on this island and be a dive master and, hang out with these beautiful people and just relax and enjoy my life and not, have as much stress. That didn't happen. It's still stressful, by the way, to be a dive master. You could kill someone and all these other things, but you know what I'm saying? In general, it was less stress than obviously being in the executive realm. But it didn't bring me the fulfillment. It didn't bring me the peace of mind. It didn't bring me the like, oh, I'm really happy and feel successful with my life. Like this is the life I want. It wasn't a high quality existence. It was just the escape of this other thing that wasn't working for me. And then I had this new thing that was better. And there were certainly so many beautiful moments living on that island. Like, don't get me wrong, and beautiful people. And, I love the people we worked with and all these great things. Like it was great. But it wasn't what I was looking for. Like, that's not the answer to burnout or feeling like success sucks because you're just exhausted all the time, right? So the answer starts with, okay, there's got to be a way. And so that's why I kind of said like, okay, I've been here. Now let's go up here and let's find a whole new answer. And that desire to find the answer and to be a woman who's setting the stage for a new path of success. And I want to gift you all with this language. I want you to write that down. I am a woman who is or is not, you have to answer that for yourself, ready to trailblaze a new path of success. This is a new breed of executive woman, a new breed of successful women. Okay. So if you want to be the surgeon who's depleted, exhausted, and, stays up for 7 nights in a row and never sleeps and never goes to the bathroom and, never eats, and that is your blaze of glory, peace out. Like that's amazing. That's your life. You get to make that decision. But what I'm interested in is being a woman who says, I'm going to be the surgeon who finds a new way. And that's what I said. I'm going to be the highly successful woman who can be an executive, who can have huge impact, who can earn well, who can be valued by an organization for her talent, for who she is, for what she brings to the table, and goes home with a clear conscience every night, feels great about the balance that she, creates between personal life and her professional life. And is interesting, does more than just work all the time. Like, gets a good night's sleep, doesn't have bags under her eyes, has nice skin, works out, has a family. Like being a woman who lived well became my new mantra. How do I become a woman who lives well? And what does that look like? Because what society was telling me didn't work, right? When society tells you, well, if you want to be a woman who lives well, you need to, stay home and be with your kids. Well, really? Like, I don't know. Is that really the answer? Maybe for some. I did for a couple of years. I thought it was great, but I don't think that's the answer. And so is it the answer that you should be an executive woman? I don't know. For me, it is. Some people might not think that. Other people don't want to be executives. That's fine too. Like my point being is all these little like roles that we're told will give us this great, like high quality life. They're just roles. They're not like,
Like, I don't know how many of you ever stayed home full time with your kids. I did it for several years. I'm like, that ain't no easy role. Like, let me just tell you what, I don't know if that was high quality living or like there were some tough moments there, right? Like, let me just tell you, it wasn't all like roses and kisses. There were some times I thought I was going to tear my hair out. So the point being is how we evolve into making choices in our life from a place where we feel competent and comfortable with those choices, that we are still highly valued for who we are. Does everybody get that? Because I know all of you are confident. Excuse me, my electronics are going off. Like, I know all of you are like highly confident women, right? If you wouldn't be in the space you are. Now, internally, we don't always feel confident. And because confidence is a state of mind and confidence is a choice, and it wanes. Like, you know, even people that you see who always look hyper confident, like they have their days, right? And you know, that person who always appears to be confident, but they're terrified inside, like you can see that too. But I think it's really normal at the top to be confident overall. You're confident you can get the job done. You're confident that you'll figure it out. You're confident that you can get through the problems and the challenges. That doesn't mean you feel confident in the moment. And so let's remove the word confidence, and I'm going to call it competence, right? And comfortable. Because competence means I walk in the room and I may not have the answer. I may not accept the assignment of that white paper. And because I'm competent and I'm comfortable, I'm okay with making that decision. I am competent as a whatever, fill in your title, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I was a vice president of international marketing at that time. So I'm confident as the vice president of international marketing, right? I feel competent that I am doing the job I'm here to do, and I do it at an exceptional level. And I am comfortable that in this particular occasion of being asked to do a white paper, that it's just not the best thing for me to be doing. And it's okay for someone else to take on that project or that role. And I'm okay. And I'm going to go home and jump on my Peloton or kiss my kids goodnight or whatever you're going to do. Like, that's what we're looking for. It's like the freedom to say emotionally, as well as like actually put that into action physically, that it's okay to make those choices and it's not damaging your reputation. And that if someone does come at you and go, what? I can't believe you didn't write that white paper, Kate. You're like, okay, wow, let's talk about that. Really? All right. Did I make a mistake? What's your perspective? What's your point of view? Like, let me hear you out and you can hear me out, and let's see. Maybe it is great to do that and maybe it's not. Like, that's that comfortability that at this pace that you're running, that if you don't go and juice yourself and have a more high quality life, you can't just keep running at this pace. Like, you're going to hit a wall. Like, it just happens. It just will. And when you do, by the time you recognize you're in burnout, you're going to be trying to convince yourself that you no longer care about your job. And you'll just be like, yeah, it's no big deal. Wow, I'm like 5 years from retirement, no big deal. It's time to walk away anyways. Like, all of a sudden, the coping mechanisms come into place. And it's like, yeah, it's fine, no big deal. And that's what I told myself, right? I was like, yeah, no, this will be fine. It'll be an adventure. I never did take that year off between college and work. This will be my hike around Europe year or whatever. And I had all the excuses why what I was doing was normal, as I'm like, selling my Cuisinart out of my kitchen and, my gorgeous couch to my neighbors for $5, going, yeah, you can have that couch for $5. I don't need it. I'll get another one. I'm like, what? That's just insane. I like sold all my belongings and moved to an island, telling myself the whole time it was totally normal. Probably not. So it was a great adventure and so on and so on. But that's my point, right? So understanding that becoming a woman who is deciding to create a new breed of success is going to be a decision. And then it has to be backed up with new information and ways of being, right? Like, it's not like you just walk in your office one day and go, oh, I'm a woman who believes success doesn't have to be hard. And you just sit around and wait for it to not be hard. You have to do something, right? And so a big piece of it is learning how to create that comfortability with your decisions, your boundaries, when to say yes, when to say no, when to escalate, when to de-escalate, when to delegate, when to lead, when to get your hands in the mix. Like those are like things you need to, understand how to do and be very capable at doing. And then you have to be very comfortable with making those decisions, because it does not help to delegate or to put up a boundary, say, oh, I'm not going to do the white paper, or, oh, let John do the white paper. I'm going to ask somebody on my team to do it. And then to go home and drink 7 glasses of wine, cry all over your partner and go, oh my God, you wouldn't believe what a bad day I had. And then I had to delegate this thing and now they're not going to like me. And did I do the right thing? Did I not do the right thing? Oh my God. That's not high quality living either. So we delegated, or we put up the boundary, and we were capable of doing it, but we weren't comfortable doing it. And meanwhile, your confidence can be up, down, sideways. It doesn't matter. If you're not capable and comfortable, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter, because confidence is something that comes and goes. It's like a shield or a mask or something you can wear, right? Like you can create confidence for yourself. Like before I have to give like a big presentation on stage, I don't do that all the time. Like when I did, I was a lot more confident, right? I'd just walk on stage and be like, and I'd say whatever I had to say. Now I don't do huge stage events anymore at this point, I shouldn't say never. And so now I'd have to be like, ooh, okay, let me think about this. Like, it would shake my confidence a little bit because I'm not in that arena as much. So confidence comes and goes. But what we're talking about is the skill set to make those on the spot decisions, right? In the business world where things are coming at you constantly, chaotically, right? And the comfortability that when you make it, you're like, yeah, drop the mic. That's the decision I made for today. I may change my mind tomorrow. I may back that decision up in 3 hours, but I'm not going to go home and not get on my Peloton. I'm not going to go home and cancel dinner out with my girlfriends. I'm not going to go home and, yell at my kids or not be present in the moment when we're doing, I don't know, a Play-Doh thing or whatever. Like that's that comfortability piece. Okay. But it all starts with the decision that it's okay to be successful and be well-rounded. It's okay and valued. You can be valued for being highly successful and not always be at the beck and call of your organization. Let's just take that badge off, ladies. We don't need it anymore. It was given to you at a very young age. It was given to us decades ago and passed on, right? And so what we're doing today is we're wearing those pants that was given to us by our predecessors in a different way, by overthinking things, by festering about things, by feeling bad if we didn't send an email to someone, feeling bad that we sent an email, but we forgot to put the sentence in, feeling bad that we put the sentence in and we shouldn't have. Oh my God. Like we just overthink it all. And we don't know how to lead from a place of, I'm going to call it well-being, because that to me is what we're talking about. We're talking about having success at such a level that we have well-being. Success in our career is a piece of it, but we're successful as moms, or we're successful as partners, or we're successful in our health goals. Like we just embody the things that we want to embody that are authentic to us. And the reason we don't know that, again, is because we're not taught this. Nobody taught us this in school. And everything you have learned is the opposite of this in many ways, right? Work hard, and then you'll earn lots of money, or work hard, and then you'll be a success. In school, your teachers didn't say, oh, look at you, Judy, you're daydreaming. Wow, your mind must be really problem solving and creating right now. I'm so impressed that you are taking this break to dream and vision. You're going to be a strategic leader. Did she? She was like, hey, you daydreaming? I asked you to do your spelling words. Get them done right now. And you were like, oh, daydreaming bad. But now all of a sudden you're 45 years old and you're supposed to take a break to daydream and think and create and check out and let your mind wander. And it's just like, that is so ingrained against everything you've ever heard. Why would you do that? Logically, you're supposed to, but everything up to this point in your life has been the opposite of that. And so then you do it once because you read it in some book, or you saw, a Harvard Business Review article on like executives need to spend more time in white space, whatever. And you do it once or twice, but every time you did it, the EA came in and interrupted you. The CEO called you and said, why didn't you have your butt in his office? And then, you know what I mean? And then you're like, forget it. Like, this is too hard. Or somebody called you on the carpet for doing it and you weren't comfortable saying,
Oh, I'm so sorry. Did you think I was a slacker not doing anything? Well, what does that mean to you? What's going on for you? Not at all. I was actually problem solving and really creating some interesting solutions. So anyways, how can I help you? You know what I mean? Like that's comfortability. You're just like, look, you can be as mad as you want to be. I'm cool with what I'm doing because I know I'm doing the things I need to do to succeed at this level. That's a new breed of success, right? And what is so great about it, what I love, love, love about all the senior, clients that we work with is that they are now going out into the world, making sure that the people who are coming behind them are also not killing themselves. Like that's priceless. That is setting the stage and a footprint for our, younger generation of women to say, girls, it's okay. Please do not be like us. This is how we can set the stage for success. This is why you're valuable in this room. It is not for the hours you're putting in. It is not for the perfect email that you just spent, 10 hours crafting and double checking and editing. It is not because you used purple in your PowerPoint presentation instead of blue and all the other things. It's because you're in the room. That's it. It's because you're in the room and you know how to make decisions from a place of comfortability and competence. You know how to behave in a way that evokes comfortability and confidence. And you know how to go home into your private life and take with you comfortability and, that competency. That's it. And when you do that, you unleash so much goodness. You're more effective at your job. You're more efficient at your job. You make decisions from a higher level. You make decisions quicker. And you know this, right? Like how many times have you been just dag nabbit tired, just totally exhausted. And you're just like, I got to get this presentation done. I got to get this thing done. I got to get this opinion, piece written. And you're just like, and you're sitting there staring at your computer screen for hours and you've written like babbly gobbledygook, right? Like I've done that so often. When the best thing is, and then you finally fall asleep, whatever, on the couch, and you get up hours later, and then you're like, oh, that's what I need to write. And you just like hammer it. Da, 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 da. You write the opinion piece, you send it off, and you're like, drop the mic. I'm so great. Why? Oh, I know why. Because you were rested, right? Because you gave yourself some time to be human, to rest, to have health, to goof off, to be, excited with, other people in your life. That's what creates great decisions. So you have evidence of it. You just don't know how to work it into your daily routine. So that needs to be part of your daily routine, right? And that's the other thing we teach. Like one of the very first things we teach everyone who's coming to work with us, because they're working, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, which is how do you bring up your energy and your vibrancy and get your needs met before you ever change your work environment? Because what everyone wants to do, and I'll do another broadcast on that, is everyone wants to change their work environment and then they're going to get this beautiful life. You change how you operate in this chaotic environment first, and then you change the work environment. So I'm going to leave it there. I'll leave you with a cliffhanger. How's that? And the next time we talk, we can talk about that. So thank you so much for being here for this broadcast. I really want to encourage you to watch some of the free training that we have out there. If this broadcast was helpful, there's a free, it's like 35, 40 minutes training that you can register for. Watch that. I go into all of this in more detail. I take you through the 4 shifts that we teach our clients that get them from, workaholic, hyper busy, burnout to having the same job, having the same impact, having the same income, same kids, same dog, same cat, same everything, and really enjoying the experience so they're not suffering. So I encourage you